So right now I'm out on Jefferson in South Bend and I'm inside the United Way of St. Joseph County, which I wasn't expecting to find this company in here, but I'm here with Adel. Tell me a little bit about what your company is and why we're here in this building.
So I started my company in 2021 as a virtual reality arcade.
Yeah.
But we've since pivoted into the mental health space, right? Using virtual reality to facilitate mental health treatment, but we also do some skills training. But ultimately, our goal is to build a VR-based mental health platform where we can connect clients with therapists in virtual environments.
So I've known about your company in the arcade space because I remember seeing about it. And so when I walked in here today, and I thought we were going to do an interview, first of all, I was like, why is it inside United Way? I couldn't figure out. And then when we sat in here and I thought, this looks like mental health more than, an arcade. That side of things is really actually fascinating to me. Yeah. Just as I learned about that even just in the last few minutes. Like, talk a little bit about that because online therapy wasn't even a thing before the pandemic, right? I mean, I don't even know if it was allowed actually.
Yeah, no, it was, but it wasn't as prevalent, right? Yeah. But post-COVID, like 90% of therapists only see virtually, right? They found out it was just more efficient, right? Yeah. But that takes away a level of engagement and connection that people need when seeking mental health treatment. Yeah. On top of the fact that like 56% of people that never get mental health treatment don't because they fear looking at somebody in their eyes, telling them their deepest, darkest secrets. And so that's what we're kind of mitigating with virtual reality, right? Because we can put you in these virtual spaces as an avatar and it's not really you, right? So you don't feel judged, you don't feel embarrassed about it, right?
Yeah. It's kind of weird, right? Like, I feel like we're going through this space, like I'm 42 and I feel like I'm going through this space of like, I understand what it was like to just have like the only game on your phone was Snake. Yeah. But now we're also like at this space of like, I almost resist like therapy on virtual reality seems like, do you get as much out of it? But then actually as you talk to people locally, it's really hard to even get in to see a therapist. Exactly. That's another thing. Exactly. So virtual reality, but you talk about this being an avatar. Is there proven methods to doing this or using this, or like is it a completely new space that people
it's not a new space. I know certain doctors and psychologists who have been doing this since like early 2000s, right? Yeah. They were using virtual reality to see the difference that Black people receive information from a doctor, whether he's white or black. So they put them in these medical scenarios and have the information given to them with a white doctor versus a black doctor. And what they found is Black people retain the information a lot better when they receive it from Black doctors. So It's been around for a long time.
But as you said, for a lot of people, opening up is difficult, or being in the right kind of environment to open up is different. Whereas with virtual reality, you can kind of, maybe.
So for me, therapy. The only reason why I started my business is because I started to take my own mental health seriously, right? Yeah. But I had an unrealistic expectation of what therapy was, right? Off of watching TV, I thought I was going to sit on this couch and lay back and have this. If I had a really bad day, my therapist might meet me at the coffee shop, something like that. But that don't happen in real life, right? But in virtual reality, we can make that happen. We have sessions in luxury cabins, loft spaces. We can go to a park. We can go to a drive. Wherever you can think of or imagine, it can be built in virtual reality.
Do you find people like the concept of virtual reality, maybe for younger people, might be a bit easier to just grasp straight away? Like even myself or people older than me, do you think like for them it's a bit harder to want to get into that space, or just?
So it's different for everybody, right? Yeah. My whole purpose is to reach those who would never originally go, right? Because of that shame factor, right? And so all of my clients right now, they're adults. They're from 25 to, I actually had a 71-year-old client at one point. So it just depends on the person, how willing they are to try something new.
True.
But once we get them in there, I've never had anybody not come out and feeling like it was an amazing experience.
This is one part of what you're focusing on, is the mental health aspect. Is that part of the reason why you're inside this building, or was this just, inside United Way? Is there any partnership with them, or is it just literally a space?
Yeah, so I would say it's definitely a kind of an unofficial partnership. Yeah. They definitely support what I'm doing for the community. We're actually running a pilot through the state where we're providing resources for formerly incarcerated and returning citizens and people who are just as impacted. Yeah. So we're getting them therapy, right? We're giving them skills training with our CDL program.
Okay.
So,
nice. You talk about the CDL program next door because, as much as I like talking about this, I also like driving. And I like doing things. So you've got another unit next door that we're going to go and have a look at. So, all right. need to see how good of a driver I am.
Yeah.
So right now we're just setting up the game. Can see I got a good truck in here. Can you explain a little bit what's going on, what you're doing?
Yeah, so this simulator that I use. It's a relatively available sim that you could just buy off of Steam, right?
Yeah.
But it's very realistic. A lot of professional truck drivers, they have YouTube channels using this software, so it's highly recommended.
Nice.
We use this personally just for like air brake tests. So it allows you to do the actual full air brake test procedure when you take your skills test. It allows you to do it in here where the gauges actually move exactly the way they would move in real life. Also, to practice backing in the docks or parallel parking or offset backing, right? We can have them doing this in this sim, and it's very realistic, as you can see, right? Yeah. Look out the window on this side.
That looks so cool. Yeah.
Like look back.
Oh yeah.
Like if you were trying to back up, like look out.
Oh yeah. Now you can see everything. That's so cool. Okay. Even the rain on the.
Yep. So just hit the gas and it should start.
Yeah. This is like my lifelong dream coming true here because I always wanted to be a truck driver. My brother back home in Ireland is a truck driver. Tell me a little bit about, you talk about wanting to expose people to skills in this, like CDL skills. Mm-hmm. How much of this can actually be logged?
So technically, none of this is officially loggable right now. Okay. For me right now, it's just a way to expose them to it, to reduce anxiety, right? Before they actually get into the cab, right? And actually go through certain maneuvers. Like I said, we can put them in a situation where they can learn how to back into a dock, which is something you have to do when you take your skills test. Offset backing, paralleling in a box truck. Just to kind of alleviate some of the anxiety that comes with it.
I don't stop for stop signs. This is cool.
Yeah, and then again, so that the air brake test, when you take your skills test, that air brake procedure, that's where everybody fails. 90% of people fail at that, right? Because if you miss one part of that, it's over. Or, and keep them from crashing like that, like you just did in a real truck, right? Yeah. So you can crash and tear this one up before you tear up a real truck.
That is true.
But like I was saying, that air brake test is... you can't miss anything on it, right? And so we can go over that procedure again and again and again in sim so that when they get into the actual truck, it's second nature.
Well, so I know so much of this is educational and overcoming fears, but I find it really fun. And I know that you have a whole trailer full of fun, so we're going to talk a little bit about that too before we leave here today. So, because I know that you do have that side of the arcade side of things as well. So let me just take this off for now. Whew. So yeah, that was cool. As I said, I've always wanted to drive a truck. Mm-hmm. So besides hitting that stop sign, which it's fine. It's
It'll be all right.
But you also have your trailer as well. Is that like for going out? Like, can people rent that, or how does that work?
So I built a 30-foot mobile gaming unit, right? Wow. And so in that we have 2 full motion racing simulators. Yeah. So just like what you experienced, but we use race cars. They racing Ferraris and Porsches and whatever. Nice. It's full motion, so the whole seat and everything moves with you. We also have PlayStation 5s. We have Xboxes, new Xboxes. It's heated, it's cool, so I can just pull it anywhere, park it, and have a whole experience.
So you talk about doing a pilot scheme and everything right now with the state. How do people reach out? Like, if somebody's watching this and they're like, you know what, I would be interested in virtual reality healthcare. Like, can you apply for it right now, or is it still in the building stages? Yeah, so we're still in the building phases where we're in this pilot, but in the next few months, we plan on being able to take insurance and things of that nature. But they can always, inquire on DellstarVR.com. Okay. Our email is realplay, REALPLAY, @DellstarVR. And also we're looking for sponsorships, right? Because we have youth that we can actually facilitate some form of treatment with right now, but they don't have access to headsets, right? And so that's one of the barriers that we're kind of overcoming by using headsets as durable medical equipment, where they can actually be paid for through insurance to kind of bridge that gap. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I love the side of it that you're using it to help people with their mental health. Mm-hmm. That's really cool space that I would have never really thought about with virtual reality. But, a lot of people do telehealth, but this seems to be taking it to a whole different level. Cool. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Appreciate you showing me around.
Anytime.
Well, we really should end on the showing your shoes. They're not virtual. That's real. They are real.
Thanks, man.